Hari Om, everybody. Last week we saw the portion where Bhagwan concludes, like from verse 11 to verse 30. Bhagwan is talking from the absolute standpoint, which is the highest. There is nothing higher than that. And the last few verses, he repeats himself saying, Na tum shochitum arhasi. You must never grieve. And we saw the various standpoints from which he tells us that. So from the absolute standpoint, there is no grief at all. There cannot be any grief because there is no death. If you were at the level of the jiva, then the jiva is going to take rebirth. And the jiva has decided to come into the body, and the jiva decides to leave the body. So we have no control over it. So there is no point grieving over something over which we have no control, and the jiva will take rebirth. And if you think you're at the level of the body, you're the body, then okay, body is born, whatever is born. Jatasya hi dhruva mrityuh. Dhruva, it's very, very firm, very confirmed fact that whatever takes birth is going to die. So why are you grieving? Those are the standpoints that Bhagwan has said. See, the takeaway for us is, if we want a complete cessation of sorrows, which is moksha, there is only one vision that we have to hold on to. Any other vision can never give us that complete cessation of sorrows. Right now, the level that we are, in general, we are at, is we are looking at other individuals. Okay, that is where our vision is. Like a wave is looking at another wave. So when I look at any other individual in this world, there is going to be only a relationship of competition, because either that individual is going to be higher than me in some respect, maybe money, maybe house, maybe car, maybe clothes, maybe intelligence, maybe education, or he's going to be lower than me. There's only two. Either he's, so if he's higher, then there's going to be jealousy. If he's lower, there's going to be pride, vanity. What did you do in life? So when my vision is from individual to individual, there cannot be but competition. And competition is going to bring grief. In any way, it is going to bring grief. Then what I do is I turn my vision to the creator, from the individual to the creator. When I turn my vision to the creator, God, whom we normally call God, or in general we say Ishvara. Here it's not the technical Ishvara, it's Ishvara who is Sri Ram or whatever your Ishta Devata is. Then what happens is there comes a vision of submission, because you acknowledge that this God is much more powerful than you are. You can never compete with this God, and you will not. You will not. Nobody goes to Tirupati and says, oh Lord, you have got so much wealth, I don't. Nobody says that. There cannot be a vision, a relationship of competition with God. You cannot compete with God. How will you? You can't. So there comes a relationship of submission, that you submit and you say, oh Lord, I don't have this thing, so please give it to me, or whatever. It's okay. It's okay. We are begging of other people. Don't beg of people. People cannot give you anything. Beg of God. That's fine. But but even then there is grief, because if God doesn't give me that thing, then there is grief. There will be some grief unless there is complete submission, complete surrender, which will only come with bhakti. So when there is complete, that highest state of devotion, which is a complete surrender, where there is a complete acceptance of whatever is coming to me, then it is actually converting into knowledge. So then the vision is from the absolute to God or to the creation. And when my vision goes to that height, to the absolute level, there can never be any sorrow, because from that vision, from that place, actually nothing is existing. That is the only way of cessation of complete sorrow. That is moksha. That is moksha. Now this is not very easy. So for us, what the takeaway should be is, we should shift our attention from other individuals to God. That is possible. keep your attention focused on God, who know him to be Sarva Shaktiman, all powerful, who can fulfill all your wishes, who can fulfill all your desires. If he doesn't fulfill, know that you don't deserve it. You get what you deserve and not what you desire. So what you desire, God might think that it is not good for you, and that is why. So when the desire is not fulfilled, you say, okay, this is God's will. God thinks that I'm not capable of handling this, or I'm not worthy of this desire, I've not gotten it. So that attitude is better than constantly having your vision on the other individual, because there cannot be anything but competition in that. Okay, so this is how you have to rise up the ladder. Nobody can suddenly go to the absolute level unless you are Bhagwan Raman Maharshi. He's considered by his devotees as a reincarnation of Lord Kartikeya. So we can see that in very young ages, Bhagwan Shankaracharya, 88, sannyas, and all. It's not possible for ordinary people like us. But definitely it is possible for us to shift our vision to God. That is easy. That has to be easy. Okay, that at least let's get to that level. Now what is happening is, after having spoken about the absolute standpoint, Bhagwan realizes that Arjuna is yet not capable of understanding that. So he comes to the absolute bottom level. And from that bottom level, he's going to rise up again, and he will end up again at the absolute level. This is how this chapter is now going to go. It started at the top, comes right down, and then goes up step by step. And that's why that going up that ladder, even considering that we are at that bottom level, we can go up the ladder. Okay, and this is where now he starts. It's turning the tone of the chapter. Bhagwan is now turning at 31, and it will turn again at 38. So let's see what he says in 31, verse 31. Swadharmapi chaveksha na vikampitumārhasi dharmyadhi yuddha shreyonyah kshatriyasya na vidyate. Further, looking at thine own duty, thou oughtest not to waver, for there is nothing higher for a Kshatriya than a righteous war. Now he has come to the absolute level of the body. Okay, and he's used the word swadharma, api, even though, okay, if we were to look at swadharma, that is the key word here. We need to understand there is two words. There is dharma and there is swadharma. So we need to understand both these words. Dharma, once again, definitely not religion, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, no. Dharma is the nature, inherent nature of a thing. The good example of it is the seed. So if you take a seed, you can take any seed. The dharma of any seed is to sprout. When it is given the right soil, the right water, right sunlight, fertilizer, whatever, you plant it in the right way. It's not roasted. So it's this thing, any and every seed will sprout. Okay, that is the dharma. That is common. Dharma is common. So every seed will sprout, but a mango seed will only give mangoes. It cannot give apples. An apple seed will only give apple. It cannot give mangoes. So that apple, giving of apple, is the swadharma of that seed. Mango is the swadharma of the mango seed. So dharma is common. Swadharma is something unique to every seed. Okay, so if there is a chili seed, then it will give chilies, banana, whatever. Okay, now in our case, what is the common dharma of all? Because now we are at the level of the body, remember? Okay, so now this is we've come down. We've come down to kindergarten level now. So everybody's body, it's the same dharma. And what is the dharma of the body? To change. Is there any animal body, plant body, human body? Anybody can say my body has not changed? No. That is a common. And we've seen the 6 changes that are happening. Existence, birth, growth, change, decay, disease, death, right? So this these 6 changes are common across the board. It doesn't matter which body it is. Nobody can say my body is not changed. My body is exactly the same. It's not same. Mind, same dharma, emoting emotions. Right? Emotions may be different. The person may have more love or more cruelty or more jealousy, less jealousy, but it is the same emotions that all the minds are emoting, including the animals' minds. Animals also have love in their mind. Animals also have anger in their mind. That is the common dharma, intellect, thought. Depending on that's why they say, horse is a very intelligent animal. So depending on the upadhi, the intelligence is there. Dogs also are very now they're using dogs to sniff out drugs and all kinds of things. Obviously there is some sort of intelligence there. Okay, so this is the common dharma of all individuals, except we find that some individuals will show certain liking for certain things. Our own children, one child likes science, one child likes arts, one child likes cooking, one child doesn't like some things, likes some things. That becomes the swadharma of that. Because if all the bodies and all the minds and all the intellects have the same dharma, we don't find that everybody is behaving in the similar way. Then they should behave in the same way, same body, na? Your body, my body is the same, made up of the 5 elements. It's changing. All the changes are the same that are happening. Birth happens, growth happens, change happens, decay happens. Some may not get that much disease. Some may get more disease, more or less. But same things are happening, but the behavior is not same. Why is it that otherwise everybody would become only one thing only? We see that variety. That variety is the swadharma of that person, where he will outshine. I will give you an example. Actually, I thought of, so my friend's daughter, she became an electrical engineer. Very, like, okay, great. Then she got a job in Vancouver. Then she got a job in London, England. She went to England. She stayed there for a few years. The next thing I heard was, oh, she's quitting her job. She's coming back to Vancouver. I thought, okay, that's fine. Maybe she's tired of staying away from home. She's coming back home and then she'll get a job. And next thing I hear is she's joined BCIT. And I thought, BCI, you're an electrical engineer. You have your, job, your profession, everything. Why are you now going into BCIT? So I met her and I asked her, I said, exactly what are you doing? She said, auntie, she said, I always like to do work with my hands. Because in BCIT, by the way, she was doing carpentry, woodwork. And that really shocked me. So I asked her, I said, what is it? What prompted you at this age? And obviously she's 2 years older than my son. So she was quite old, like she had already studied, worked, and then come back. I said, at this age, why are you changing? She said, I always wanted to join BCIT. I always wanted to do things with my hands. But my dad said I have to have a university degree. Of course, I could understand her dad because Indian parents, my psyche is also like that. The children have to go to university and have to study. But now it's different. My son has already told me, Mom, I don't think I wouldn't bother if my son doesn't go to university. And that kind of shocked me too. But now I'm not getting into that. So she said to me, she said, that's because my dad forced me to go to university. Then I picked, which I thought a profession where I would work with my hands. And that's why either electrical or mechanical, one of the two engineerings. And she said, but what happened was I started doing work with my hands, but as I got promoted, it became more and more paper pushing. Because she rose in the ladder. She's an intelligent girl, And she said, when I went to London, finally I realized that I was only pushing paper. And she said, no, that didn't sit right with me. So I have quit my entire job. And now she came in, she stood first in her class in carpentry. She stood the coffee tables and the amazing carpentry she's doing. That is her swadharma. She came to it. She came back to it. So your swadharma is where you will feel most comfortable. A person who likes cooking, they're very comfortable cooking. One who doesn't like it, they're like, okay, I'm just going to do it like to survive, but that's me. That's why I only cook to survive. honest to God. I never ask for any recipes because I have no interest in trying anything new. Whatever I know is enough for me. So Swadharma that is what makes that person unique. This is what now Bhagavan is telling Arjun. With Arjun, it was very easy. Sometimes what happens is it like circumstances, like this girl herself, at a late age now she could follow her Swadharma. With Arjun, he was born in a Kshatriya family and he was by Swadharma Kshatriya only. He liked warfare. He was trained in warfare. He had fought so many wars. He had won so many wars. So extremely easy for him by birth as well as his nature. Sometimes, see, we find people, kids born in families, but they don't follow. And the other example that comes, there is a kid here. Kid means he's now married and has children and all. His family is 8 generations Indian Army. 8 generations. He himself told me, he said, we traced back our lineage and our great grandfather, means 8 generations back, was a general in the Shivaji army. Shivaji is the great Maratha warrior. So that's where we have traced our lineage. And when I told my dad that I do not want to join the army, there was like shock. After, because you see, that is his dharma, that family. But his Swadharma was not army. He said, no, I'm not. So now he's a software engineer and he's in Vancouver. Swadharma. So that is what makes you unique. Okay. With Arjun, he was born in a military family, army family, king family, and then he was this thing. So now Bhagwan is saying to him, okay, forget Atma, forget absolute, forget killing. What is your dharma? Kshatriya. What is your Swadharma? Kshatriya. So why are you shaking? Follow your dharma, follow your duty. Just follow your duty. That's it. Forget Atma, forget everything else. What is the duty of a Kshatriya? To fight. This war is very dharmic. Dharmyadi yudhachaya. This war, it's a dharmic war. It is not adharmic. You're not doing anything wrong. It would have been wrong, even if it was a Kshatriya, just to go and kill somebody for no reason would have been wrong. But this is not without reason. Kshatriya, see, nothing higher for a Kshatriya, absolute bottom level, For us, whatever is your duty, you do. I told you in Vivek Chunamani class, I told you, you do your duty. That's it. So if you can't grasp this level of Atma, it doesn't matter. There are other ways. Follow what your duty is to a T. We get into other things, more other things than our own duty. So here is what Bhagwan is telling him. What's the problem? You have killed before. You know warfare. You are not afraid. Why are you shaking? Vikampitum arhasi. Why na vikampi? Kampa is shaking. Vikampa is visheshana. He was totally shivering. Why are you shaking? It's your duty. Don't shake. Okay. Now, yadrachaya chopapannam swargadvaram apavritam sukhina kshatriya partha labhante yuddhamidrisham. Happy indeed are the Kshatriyas, O Partha, who are called to fight in such a battle that comes of itself as an open door to heaven. Yadrichaya word is used twice in Bhagavad Gita. It will come once again. Yadrichaya means unasked. You have not asked for it. You did not go looking for a war. You tried to make peace. Krishna himself went. I also went to them to make peace. But they didn't listen. Now, without any choice, without you asking for it, this opportunity has come to you to fulfill your duty. And there is nothing greater, Sukhinaha Kshatriya Partha. For a Kshatriya to fight a righteous war, there's nothing more that will make him happy. Because why? That is a righteous war. That is his duty. That is his dharma. That is his swadharma. And Arjun was absolutely qualified to do the job. right? So who are called to fight, etc., comes as an open door to hell. Okay, so this Gurudev in his this he says, Arjun, you don't have to even knock on the doors of heaven. That much trouble also you won't have to take. It'll be wide open, and there'll be a red carpet laid out for you in heaven. And that is true for us also. Please remember, it's not like just to Arjun, it is true. We follow our duty strictly. Whatever is our duty, that is where people make a mistake. We don't know what our duty is really. If we can figure out what our duty is, and if we stick to that duty, then the doors of heaven will be open for us. It's not just for Arjun, it's for everybody. This instruction is for everybody. Duty is to be determined. Who determines duty? Shastra. And duty is to be determined by Varna and Ashrama. So Varna is color. So Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And ashram is brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. The brahmachari ashram, the main duty is studying. Grahastha is earning money. Vanaprastha is withdrawal, and swadhyaya. Swadhyaya should come top, at the top. So studies, scriptural studies for Vanaprastha. And sannyas is a complete renunciation of everything. So we need to decide where we are. Also, we need to decide whether my swadharma is being a Brahmin. Being a Brahmin means it's not birth by birth. Like, am I more sattvic? Maximum sattva followed by rajas and tamas is Brahmin. Maximum rajas followed by sattva and tamas is Kshatriya. Maximum rajas followed by tamas and sattva is Vaishya. And Shudra is maximum tamas followed by rajas and then sattva. I need to decide what my gunas are. I need to decide where I am. Am I maximum sattva, maximum rajas, maximum tamas? And then what is my ashram? Where am I? Because each one of us is a different level, different stage. So that's why it's self-evaluation. I have to decide for myself where I stand and then follow what the scriptures are saying. So this is what scriptures are saying. This is how I determine what my duty is. And it's not, like I said, it's not by birth. So it's swadharma. So I may have a birth in a Brahmin family, but I may like to do business. That's fine. That's fine. Do business then. You don't have to teach. So this is how you determine. And if you stick by it, doors of heaven are open. So this is what Bhagwan is telling him, that you will go straight to heaven without anything. So why are you thinking? What is there to shake? Fight. And fighting is nothing new to you. It's not like you're doing it for the first time. Oh my God, how do I do it? No, you are adept. You have prepared for the last 12 years for this war. Okay? अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं संग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि. But if you will not fight this righteous war, then having abandoned your own duty and fame, you shall incur sin. See, this duty, there are sin. Let's talk about sin first. What is sin? One thing about sin is you do something wrong. Okay, then that is sin. So stealing, cheating, all that. So we are not even at that level. That is one thing where you do wrong. But sin also is what you are supposed to do and you don't do. It is not just a positive, negative doing, a wrong doing, but something that you're supposed, and the most common example that is given is you're supposed to brush your teeth every day. So if you don't brush your teeth, you're going to get decay in the teeth, cavities in the teeth. So there is one thing of doing something wrong, but something which you are supposed to do, which is your duty, and you don't do, that also will incur sin. Please understand, there is these two. So here what is happening is, it is not that Arjun is doing something wrong, but what he is supposed to do, what he's supposed to fight, he doesn't want to fight because he said, I don't want to fight. So he says, Bhagavan says, now you will incur sin. If you run away from this war, you will incur sin. This is totally at our level, huh? There's nothing, no mention of Atma, Jivatma, nothing. This is what Bhagavan is telling him. Because your Swadharma will also be destroyed. Why? Because you are a Kshatriya warrior and your fame will be destroyed. Here, Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his commentary says, what is the type of fame that Arjun had? And that's the question that comes. Because Bhagavan is saying, you have that fame. So there is a story of Arjun when he was in the 12 years in the forest when they were there, the Pandavas, and Bhagavan had told him, don't think that this is your rest period or something. You must spend this entire time doing tapas and gaining all the weapons, getting all the weapons that you can. And one of the weapons that you must have is Pashupati Astra, which belongs to Lord Shiva. So you have to do meditation on Lord Shiva and gain that Astra. So Arjun had done a lot of tapas. Arjun also went to Indraloka. I told you from Indra also he wanted, I've told you a story from there. So this, he was meditating on Lord Shiva, and they were Kshatriyas. So they would hunt and kill and eat. They would eat meat, non-veg. It's a Kshatriya. For Kshatriyas, it's allowed. It was allowed. So he was living alone in the forest and meditating, and then he was hungry. So he went hunting and he killed a boar or a pig or whatever. And when he went to get his catch, he saw that there was another arrow from the other side. And he thought, I shot only one arrow because, Arjun was great this thing. Suddenly one hunter came from the other side and he said, no, I killed. And the rule was that whoever killed that animal first gets that animal. So he says, I killed it, Arjun says. He says, no, look, my arrow is right there on the other side. I killed him. So then the way they decide the thing is that these two will now have a fight. So Arjun and that hunter, they say, okay, we have to have a fight and whoever wins gets the pig, gets the boar. Okay, so they both start fighting and Arjun cannot defeat him. The hunter is an ordinary hunter and he is fighting and Arjun says, oh, something is, then finally it dawns on Arjun. This is no, this can't be an ordinary hunter because there is nobody who has won a war against me. Like if I have challenged anybody, I have won all my wars. That's why his name was Vijay, one of his names. And he says, you can't be an ordinary hunter. You can't. Tell me who you are. And then it's Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva says, I came to, before I give you the Astra, I wanted to test your abilities. That's why I've done this. And he says, now I'll give you the Pashu. So that was the fame that he had. See, you have to understand that he could, even Bhagwan could not defeat Arjun. What fame? Glory. Lord Shiva could not defeat him. He was that, I told you, he was extremely, his character is very, very distant, right? That now Bhagwan is saying, if you don't fight, that fame will be mud. Your name will become mud. See, this very ordinary level. Do it so that your name doesn't get tainted. Not for anything else. Forget anything else. Do it for. So this is what Bhagwan is trying to tell him. With sin, also understand that it is not the action which determines the sin, it is the intention behind that action which determines whether it's a sin or not. Actually, I think yesterday or day before, only in chapter 7, when Gurudev was talking about, I am that desire which is not driven by ego. And that's where he talked about intention. He said that, if I, and of course he'll say, if this Swami goes and stabs a knife into somebody's stomach and cuts it open and kills that person, Tripti heard it, right? So this Swami will then end up in jail. He will always talk about him as Swami. But if there is a surgeon and he has got a patient on the operating table and he also cuts the stomach of that person and then that person dies, nobody is going to go, put the surgeon in jail. But this Swami, will straight go to jail because the Swami's intention was not good. That is the intention of the surgeon. So both have died. Both knives have been cut across. The stomach has been cut across, but the surgeon remains free. Swami goes to jail. It is the intention which decides what is a sin or not. Now that's why his intention is to run away. And so Bhagavan says, you're going to incur sin. Your dharma is going to be destroyed, right? Because you're not following it. And your fame, you have accomplished so much in your life, that is going to go to the dogs, literally. Now, akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishanti te vyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtihi maranadatirishtrichyate. People too will recount your everlasting dishonor, and to one who has been honored, dishonor is more than death. So, you know, there are many kinds of death. I have talked about this before. I can't remember which class I talked what, but there are many kinds of death. So 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 one is, of course, when we say death, oh, there's a physical death. Okay, that we all know. But there is a financial death. There is an economic death. There is, you know, for a person who has lived his life honorably, when some slander is there, you know, then that person is, it's like almost dead. With this thing, there is also another story where Arjun had, you know, his Gandhi bow was his favorite, and he had vowed that anybody who insults my Gandhi bow, I will kill them. Imagine, this is why Bhagwan, see, Bhagwan knows all these things. These things, or other people wouldn't know, but it's Bhagwan, so Bhagwan knows. So, so one thing here, he's saying that Arjun, you had sworn, and that anybody who makes fun of the Gandhi, you will kill them. Now people will make fun of you. Think about it. Think. And there is a story. So what happens is, one day Yudhishthir makes fun of that Gandhi. Yudhishthir, his older brother. Now his vow is that I'm going to kill. Then, of course, Bhagwan Krishna is there, you know, like Narad Muni, making peace. So he says, you know what, for elders, if you insult your elder, it's like killing them. That is another thing. Death. There is a death. When we insult, you know, elders, parents, grandparents, or our gurus, we say something nasty about them. That also is like killing them. So Bhagwan says, Arjun, why don't you just insult Yudhishthir now, so that your vow is fulfilled? And he made fun. So he made. So now Bhagwan is saying that you were that, you know, your bow, so nobody could make fun of your bow. Now people will make fun of you. And of course, in Gurudev's inevitable, you know, his style, he says, Arjun, actually, people normally talk behind people's back. We do that, na? Behind, then. Here he says, people will talk in front of your face only. That much they will insult you if you run away. Most ordinary standpoint, don't run away, because people are going to insult you, not behind your back, not be in front of your face, in front. And then what will happen to you? Then how will you feel? How bad you will feel. That's why he says. And what happens is, you know, it's like that. You do 9 good things. I'm telling you this, even I have experienced. 9 times you're good to the person, some one little mistake you make, na, all the 9 is forgotten right away. I don't know if Prem Sai is nodding, right? One mistake. I have gone, I myself have gone, I'm telling you, it's like, what? And so Bhagwan is saying, you know, that whole life you won all the wars, whole life, not a single war was lost. This war you run away, finish. Everything is wiped out in the past. Everything will get wiped out. Only this, oh, that Arjun, the one who ran away from the war. It's like Ravana asked Hanumanji when he went to his court in Ramayana, there's a story, with arrogance he asked, do you know who I am? You know, arrogance. So Hanumanji very mildly said, yeah, are you not the one that Bali defeated? So like that, they'll say, Arjun, oh, that Arjun who ran away. They'll never say that, oh, that Arjun, you know, who fought with Lord Shiva and who did this and who did that. They won't say like that. They will say that Arjun, the one who ran away. We know that Arjun, he ran away from war. So he says, this will be like worse than dying for you. Better you die in the war. Because for a Kshatriya, death is in a war is great punya. Even Duryodhan died in the war, and Duryodhan ended up in heaven for 10 minutes. That's what Mahabharata says. Because he died, he didn't run away. Duryodhan did not run away till the very end. Bhim killed him in the war. For that, just that. Otherwise, whole life Duryodhana did evil things. Whole life. Just that one thing, that he stood by his dharma. He fought the war with Bhima. He died. He got heaven. Think about Arjun. If he would have fought the war, then what? 10. He would have got in infinite time. Now, भयाद्रणादुपरतं मन्स्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतः भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्. The great battalion commanders will think that you have withdrawn from the battle through fear, and you will be lightly held by them who have thought much of you and your heroism in the past. Now, the reason that Arjun was withdrawing, or not was withdrawing, but wanted to withdraw, was out of compassion, right? Because he says that, oh, they're my grandfather, they are my guru. How can I kill them? They're my relatives. Swajanam hi katham hatva, he said. Swajanam hi katham hatva. My people, they are my people, my cousins, my brothers, my this, that. How can I kill them? But he says the battalion, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says battalion commander is, who? Duryodhana and Karna. Everybody else, even Bhishma will know that you have run out of compassion. Dronacharya will know that you went away out of compassion. But Duryodhan and Karna are never going to think like that. They are going to say that you were afraid of fighting with them, and that's why you have run. Now, is that something to be living by for you, for a prince of such great valor and power and winning all these wars? Duryodhan is going to now laugh in your face and say, oh, he ran because he was afraid of facing Karna. He ran because he was afraid of it. So at least for that, he says you fight. At least for that. Just the basic reasons. Like don't, So is that much of it, and your heroism in the past. Like everything is going to get forgotten. This is that nobody is going to say that you ran out of compassion. You went away out of compassion for them. Nobody. Of course, Bhishma and Drona will say that, but all other battalion commanders, and especially this one. Now, अवाच्य वादांश बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्. And many unspeakable words will your enemies speak, cavilling your powers. What can there be more painful than this? So they will insult you on your face, not even behind your back. Think, Bhagavan is telling him, at least for this reason. Yes.
Is Krishna then really speaking to Arjuna's ego at this part in the chapter, like trying to get him to put his back up and all?
Exactly. Because you see, he's not understood this Atma, no? So now he has come down. He's come down to the level. Okay, will your ego not get hurt? So fight for that at least. Because this is your duty, right? It's not that Bhagavan is asking him for doing something wrong. He had come to fight. He wanted to go away. He says, no, don't go away. Forget the reason that I told you, that actually you're not killing anybody. That's at the highest level. You don't understand that. Okay, that's fine. Isn't it not your duty to kill them? Because they're standing on the other side, they're enemies. Do your duty. What's the problem? Where's the problem? This is what Bhagavan is telling. It's coming down. He's come down already. Okay. Avancha vadanshabhum. That things that should not be spoken of, they will speak about you. And how insulted will you feel? That's why this thing, like even when the bow was insulted, you felt so bad. Your bow. Now they will insult you only directly. How will you feel? How will you? Because it's ego. That is ego. Now he tells him, 37, which is definitely for us as well an important verse. Hato, the one thing, that Swadharma, the verse 31 is also an important verse in this chapter, because that is like directly, it's meant for us. So, because we also don't understand that higher vision, the absolute level, then this at least we should follow. That's why this is important for householders, for us. We are living in the world. We have not realized the self. So that's why 31 is important. Okay, 31 is important, and the next important verse is 38. Yeah.
Just a quick, so this section then is appealing a little bit to the ego, but also in a lot of the other parts of the Gita that we study, it's about reducing the ego. So is it just the level at this point is because we are unable to even do that, this is better than at least doing nothing? Is that a correct understanding?
That is a correct understanding, because from 38 onwards, he's again going to turn. See, he was at the absolute level. He turned, he came down. Straight downward leap he took, Bhagwan. Now he's going to turn again and he's going to start going up. That's why I told you, this is how the chapter goes. So this is at the absolute level of the ignorant person. These from 31 to 37. Okay, I don't know Atma, I don't know God. Okay, you don't know anything. You know your duty. You know who you are. Are you a brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha? You know you're a brahman. At least that much. And Arjun was that much to intelligence he had. And we are expected to have that much intelligence if we are studying Bhagavad Gita. So you have that much intelligence. You know where you stand in your life. You know what your duty is. Follow the duty. Chalo. Forget everything else. Follow your duty. In North Indians, I see this. There is a sin, and I call it the LKK syndrome, and it is log kya kahenge. I don't know how many of you experience this, but I know people who do things. Log kya kahenge? Agar मैं condo में चली जाऊं तो लोग क्या कहेंगे? Because when I moved into the condo, I said, do I care what the people will say? Or do I look at what my position in life is? Log kya kahen? Log hasenge hum par. If I don't put out 2-3 appetizers, log hasenge. If I don't put out 2-3 desserts in my buffet menu, log kya kahenge? So the whole thing is done for log kya kahenge. So here Bhagwan is also telling him, log kya kahenge? You better do your duty. LKK, do your duty. Because people will laugh. People definitely will laugh, will insult you. So log kya kahenge? So at least for that, which is the most lowest standpoint. When you start doing things, thinking what the people are going to do, but here he's doing something right. He's doing correct, Arjun. So Bhagwan is saying, at least for that, you do your correct duty, because your duty, correct right now, duty is to fight. Now you cannot leave the war and go. Okay, so this is what. Now this last verse in this sort of topic. Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmat uddishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchayah. Slain, you will obtain heaven. This is a promise given by Bhagwan Shri Krishna, which applies to us also. And slain means not that we are fighting. Doing our duty when we remain, you will obtain heaven. Victorious, you will enjoy the world. Look at this. It's a win-win situation. Because there are only two things for a Kshatriya. A real Kshatriya at that time never runs away from the war, like while fighting. Either he dies, that's what Duryodhan did. That's what gave him the heaven. Imagine, I'm telling you, Duryodhan died in the war. He didn't run away. He could have surrendered even at that point. Bhagwan would have forgiven him, because Kshatriyas, once somebody else, when the enemy surrenders, they cannot kill him. They cannot touch him. And Duryodhan could have surrendered, and his life would have been spared. Not only that, Yudhishthir probably would have made him a king of some other kingdom. That also Yudhishthir would have done, because Yudhishthir was very, very kind and compassionate. But Duryodhan, but he was also a real Kshatriya. So he said, no, 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 no. I don't want charity from Yudhishthir. I will stand my guard and I will die. So that's why Bhagavan is saying there are only two choices that you have now. Either you win or you lose, or you don't lose, sorry. Either you win or you die. Because losing and dying is same. Like Arjun would not have lost the war and lived after that. He would have probably committed suicide only after that. So he says both is a win-win situation for you. If you die, heaven door is open door with red carpet. That I promise. And if you win, this whole world is yours. This kingdom is yours. You will enjoy. That's why he says that therefore, tasmat uttishta kaunteya. Again, once again, not that Bhagavan is asking him to fight. He had come to fight. He had refused to fight. Bhagavan is now giving him reasons. First, he gave him reasons from the highest, because he said, Swajanam hi katham hatva. That was one objection. And the other objection was, why don't I go and beg for, it is better for me to go and beg for food than to kill my people, than to fight this war, right? So now he's saying, no, it is not better for you to beg, because then you're going to give up your dharma and you're going to get all these people. And what will people say? So you stand your guard, you do your duty. Okay, you will die now. Theek hai, no problem. Heaven is waiting for you. And if you win, the kingdom of the world is waiting for you. So where is the problem? That's why Vedanta always says there is never any problem. We create the problem. So in here there is, see, there is, if you, what it is the way it works is, suppose there is an individual body. To save the body, sometimes one arm is amputated, right? There's gangrene or there is some tumor. Then they say, oh, now if we don't amputate the arm or the leg, the body cannot survive. So they will sacrifice one part of the body for the body to survive. When it comes to a family, sometimes one person is sacrificed in the family to maintain the family, because that way. Then in the society, maybe one whole family is sacrificed to protect the society. And then in a war, when there is a war, many, many people are sacrificed because for the safety of the country. So as the level of safety, whose safety it is, as it goes up, there will be more sacrifices to be given. So if you're trying to save only one person, then only one limb maybe have to be sacrificed. If you're trying to save a family, maybe one person has to be sacrificed. If it is a society, maybe one family has to be sacrificed. But if it is the whole country, then many families have to be sacrificed. So sacrifice increases with what you're trying to save. So in this, Bhagavan is saying that you have to sacrifice now, because now you're trying to save the whole dharma you're trying to save. So the sacrifice also will be big. It has to be big. And it was big, because Pandavas lost all their children. Abhimanyu died. Everybody, all the children died, right? Apparently, I just read that only 18 people survived the war. 18. That's a very important number, I told you, right? Imagine every single king. So how much sacrifice? But this is what Bhagavan is saying. Now it has become necessary, because if we don't do this, if we don't give this sacrifice, dharma can never be established. And when you establish dharma, if you die while establishing dharma, you will go to the heavens. If you win, you will establish dharma and live in this prosperous kingdom, because now you will bring it back to prosperity. As the Yudhishthira became king, and after that they'll rule for like 30 odd years or something. They'll rule before they went to heaven. All the brothers, Yudhishthira and his dog only went in physical form, and the others, they died and they went. So I'm going to stop here, because from 38 onwards now, Bhagavan is again going to turn. And 38 is another key verse, heart. And my favorite verse in the entire Bhagavad Gita, this is my favorite verse. This is how I have tried to live my life. So it is important that we understand this, and we will do it. Are there any questions with this portion? Yes, yes, Shivra.
Jayaji, you refer to all of them dying, and only Yudhishthira could go to heaven. First, one of the things that actually sort of bothers me, probably it's way I am thinking may not be right, please guide me, is that why are they still aspiring for heaven here when we have been taught that heaven is not the aspiration. The aspiration is to effectively not have anything. One. Second question was that Arjuna, being so close to Krishna, having got the ultimate knowledge from Bhagavan, why does he fall off on the journey when they're climbing up? Why only Yudhishthira is able to get to heaven? And in the end, they still show that Arjuna and others, apart from Yudhishthira, are still in hell. Only Yudhishthira, but Duryodhana has got a place in heaven. And that is why Yudhishthira says, I do, if my brothers are not here, then I would also like to go where they are. And he's actually taken to a place which is hell. And that is where somehow the story seems to end. So I don't understand what happens. Why is that happening?
No,
I don't know if...
Few, okay. One thing is because Yudhishthira is the only one who had, every other person, every other brothers, including Draupadi, some or the other mistake they had made.
Okay.
And there is details, so I won't go into the details.
Okay.
Draupadi's I remember very well. Draupadi had at one point thought that it would be nice if Karna was my husband as well. That one thought had come to her mind. That was one reason for Draupadi. So, but all the brothers going to hell, that part I don't know.
Okay, Jayaji.
I don't know. The story, Mahabharata story, that is generally meant for us. The other thing is Arjun was given this knowledge. It doesn't mean that the other brothers had this knowledge.
Okay, Jayaji.
Right? Arjun was the only one that was listening to this.
Right.
Arjun we do say that he was realized. But that is sort of meant for at the level of the jiva. Because heaven is only at the level of the jiva. So that is meant for us. That if you, this thing, then heaven is there. When you go to the absolute standpoint, there is actually no heaven.
Okay, Jayaji.
There is no heaven. So, as Vedantic students, we must actually only try to gain that absolute level. We shouldn't get into these type of inquiries.
So the Bhagavad Gita is actually a more, so out of Mahabharata, the essence of Tat is being explained in Bhagavad Gita per se, but that is more of at a gross level understanding to introduce you to the concept of Bhagavad Gita. That story is there in the background. Not story, I would say the incidents of Mahabharata. But the Gita itself is probably the entire essence of what we are supposed to understand for the ultimate is what the message should be.
Yeah, Mahabharata story, they say, is a story to explain to us every situation in our life is in the Mahabharata. And if it is not in the Mahabharata, that situation doesn't exist in our life. That is what is said. That's the greatness of Mahabharata. That no matter what situation you're facing, it is there. Sibling rivalry, you name it, everything is there. The two contributions of Mahabharata is Gita and Vishnu Sahasranam. So Vishnu Sahasranam for bhaktas, Vishnu, this thing, and Bhagavad Gita for the entire way of living. So from the Mahabharata is called Bhagavad Gita. That's why it gives, Upanishads only give the knowledge. They do not give a way of living. That's why Bhagavad Gita appeals to all of us. Because yes, there is that absolute, that's why here Bhagwan has just come to our level, literally. Telling us do the right thing, don't worry about what people are going to say. That's a very absolute bottom level, right? So Gita gives us the entire spectrum of how to live life and then how to go. So this is going from brahmachari to sannyas, Bhagavad Gita, whereas Upanishads are all in sannyas.
Also,
complete renunciation.
Sorry, the thing that bothers me sometimes is where is the faith part of it and where is the questioning? Where should the questioning stop? Like how do I say, okay, this is not something that has to be questioned, but they still say keep inquiring, don't stop inquiring, right? So sometimes discerning those two becomes sort of a problem, Jaiji. That's why maybe I don't know.
So
Maybe at the end of Bhagavad Gita we may be able to understand it, but somehow.
no. I'll tell you right now what Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi says. Question the I who is wondering this. Question that substratum. Because there is an I there, and it's the small I, which is saying, how much faith should I have? How much should I do questioning? Question that I itself.
Okay.
Question that I itself. You'll transcend.
Thank you, Jaiji.
Any other questions? Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes,
Are you there?
Narayan. Oh, okay. Narayan ji, you go first.
I have it's a very small question. In Kathopanishad, I remember Swami Tejimanji saying Uttishta, always using the Uttishta. And they also used the word Uttishta. What context and what's the difference between the two?
In Upanishad, Uttishta, here it is meant for get up and start fighting. So action. Uttishta is for action. There it is arise and awake your intellect, awake to the higher reality. There is no action there. That Uttishta is not action. That Uttishta is understanding. This Uttishta is action.
Thank you.
Nitya, you had a question?
I will let Neil ask, Jayaji.
Okay, Neil, go ahead.
Hariam Jaya, in the beginning you were addressing about competition, where we can learn more about how to deal with all that, because it seems like a path to, like you're saying, gloating in one way and weaknesses. Yeah, in the beginning you were talking about it's especially with kids, it's hard to it's always about competition and
Healthy competition is okay. See, for us, if our attention is constantly on what other people are doing, if you can withdraw that attention a little bit and focus that attention on what you want to gain in life, and you do that, you do the best that you can do. Don't compare your best with the best of other person. That is what we do. That is competition. He's doing, am I capable of doing that? So I must do what I am capable of doing to the best of my ability, and then leave the rest and turn your attention towards God and say that, okay, Lord, I am putting in this much effort. If I deserve the result that I want, I know you will give it to me.
okay.
Attention has to be shifted. It's a shift of attention.
Mm-hmm. And in sports and everything, same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, geez, see, there is, Guruji has said one thing. Even if you win in a rat race, you're still a rat. So sports and all, yeah, you do okay. Now some person might be strong, some people will not be strong too. And if your child has it, he will outshine. He will outshine on his own. But if your child doesn't have it, we have seen now Wayne Gretzky, and now I see all these from the island, some basketball player. When the special talent is there, that will be his swadharma. He will follow it.
Mm.
He will
Okay.
follow it. Sports, though, we should not be that much bothered. Yes, Nitya.
It's late, so I will start the next class with my question, Jayaji.
Okay, so hold on to it. And Hari Om, everybody. See you next time.